right tackle. But in these final few games of the regular season, is it more about becoming more comfortable with the technique over on the right side, or is it just the feel, how the position feels different? What can he benefit most from on these these final regular?
Well, I mean, it's just like anything. We're playing to win football games. We're playing to get our 12th win, and Tyron just wants to get a week better, and the connection with Zach Martin. I think so much of this game is about who you play next to, and no different when a tight end is over there too. So, yeah, I mean, the continuity is something that we obviously didn't have the opportunity to practice because with the injury in training camp. So yeah, I think all those things are real.
So it's really more just the connection and how he works with Zach and the protection on the outside versus anything mechanical as far as making the switch from left to right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all in the same, frankly. I mean, you're talking about footwork, technique, fundamentals, but just like anything, I mean, Tyron knows how to single block. He knows how to double team. He knows the A and B, C blocks on the backside, but who you're doing it with, and the fit of it all. I mean, that's why we practice. So I mean, he'll be a week better.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. Tony Pollard, will he be able to do some stuff for you today in practice?
We're not doing a whole lot, but he'll be a part of it. We're gonna go more just individual, more perimeter things, and then we're gonna go the pace that we went yesterday. So, but yeah, Tony will be part of it, but I do want to make sure Malik gets some work there too.
How do you think Tony's handled obviously the extra workload that he's had this year?
I think Tony's handled every opportunity he's been ever given. I mean, he's voted to the Pro Bowl for good reason. It's great to see him, recognized by his peers, and Tony's playing at an extremely high level.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Seems as if T.Y. has ingrained himself pretty quickly with some of those younger receivers. How pleased are you with that to say, hey, we got a veteran guy that's helping the guys we already have?
Definitely. I mean, that's a big part of his reputation and coming in here. And I think just like anything, we talk about talent, production, and the win games and then be part of what we're getting ready to get into in playoff victories. It's definitely the connection to guys that have been there, because there's going to be our rookie classes. This is going to be a new experience for them. So all those things are awesome, and you love to see veterans paying it forward.
Mike Jory, Epstein, Yahoo Sports. You talked yesterday about not being concerned with the pass rush, but when you're not having the drive-killing sacks like you were earlier in the season, how much more important does the takeaways become, and particularly the fact that y'all have had multiple takeaways each of the last?
Well, I mean, they're both important. I mean, obviously, sack to stop a drive, a big play to stop a fourth down is, really is the same as a takeaway. So, I mean, that's a big part of our personality on defense. So, it has been the last 2 years, and we just, we need to keep working on the little things. And, our biggest, focus real defensively is the new players that we got playing, and just, going back to the Tyron question, just, getting everybody on the same page and getting the cohesiveness where it needs to be.
On that note of different players playing, I think y'all have had 7 guys intercept a pass, 15 force a fumble, 10 recover one. To have that many different playmakers, what does that do for y'all, and what does that do for opposing quarter?
Sounds like a hell of an article. I can't wait to read it. But yeah, I think it's it shows to the personality and the play style of the football team, and everybody starts with the importance of ball security. We practice it every day too. It's a major emphasis for us, and it's great to see our players getting it done.
Sam Williams, will he do a little bit more today?
Yeah, I would put Sam in a full category today.
Mike, your red zone success, what do you put that on, and what makes a good red zone team?
Well, I think just like anything, I think really the basis of our production is really goes all the way back to the complementary football formula. We're just playing it, we're playing it at more disciplined, formula, both offense and defense, and I think just like anything, the run game, our success running the football, brings a stabilization to our offense, because the run game effectiveness carries over to the protection, and then it obviously carries over to making the job a little easier for the perimeter, and particularly in the red zone. If you look at the balance that we have down there, it's just not it's like we're going down there slinging it all over the yard. So I just think the ability to maintain some level of balance has been very beneficial for us.
Dak's always been a selective runner as a quarterback. He's always looked to throw first and run kind of as a last resort a lot of times. But going along with the red zone efficiency, he seemed to asserting himself a little bit more later in the season with the run. How does that stress defenses and help his red zone execution?
I think the mindset's the same. I mean, if you look at the scramble, just on the the big scramble last week on the red fine, it was a call, but that he had, I think we're getting better there. I mean, scramble is something you can work on, but it's good to see it carrying over to game day. So, and I think if you look over the history of red zone efficiency, quarterbacks that have the ability to extend plays down there, it's a huge asset for an offense, and I think you're seeing Dak do more of that. And then also the runs, I think you're referring to too. I think Kellen's been selective on when he uses them, and Dak's been extremely productive with it.
Like J.J. Watt is probably going to retire at the end of this season. What's your thoughts about the type of career he had?
I mean, J.J. Watt, I can remember actually going to the Madison Pro Day. J.J. Watt, Scott Tolzien, and Gabe Carimi and Hendricks, the tight end, and so I mean it was an excellent class, and so it's. I think anytime you get to watch a young man come right out of college and you kind of follow his career, and obviously the brothers and the family, the story, it's a great story, and but he's had a phenomenal career, and he's very blessed, and he's done it the right way, and but to think that he is retired just makes me feel old. So.
John Machot, The Athletic. It looks like it's going to be a close race between Micah and Nick Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year. If someone came to you and was like, why should Micah be Defensive Player of the Year, what would you tell them?
Well, I think he's done so much so fast. I think he's had that level of production for the season. I mean, he gets a tremendous amount of attention. I mean, he impacts the game, even when it doesn't show up on a stat chart. And no different for Nick Bosa. I mean, having a chance to compete. I mean, those are the type of guys that keep you up a little later. When you're thinking about protection, third down, and situational football. And and I think the biggest thing too for Mike is his ability to. A couple of those scrambles this past week, where he closes down and runs down a quarterback. So I mean, he can make plays all over the field. I mean, you look at the play he made against Detroit. So, impact player, definitely plays at an elite level, and it makes everybody around him better.
Like I'm sure you saw yourself develop as a play caller over your career. How do you feel like Kellen is similar or different as a play caller now than the beginning of the season? And what's that like watching his trajectory?
Well, I think Kellen's clearly a different play caller than he was, 2 years ago, and I think it's all part of the complementary football and what we're trying to, stay and emphasize on as a football team. So, I think the way the play calling and on both the offense and defense, they're definitely more complementary, and it really starts with Kellen, the commitment to the run game, and I think it's he's definitely has grown in that area. So I think he's having a heck of a year.
That it? Good. Thank you.
Thank
Mike.
you.
Wow.